What's up, everybody, and welcome into Driving the Lines, how to bet the Super Bowl like an expert. My name is Alan Bell, and through this guide, whether you are a beginner making your first ever sports bet or an expert, you've been doing this for a long time, this guide will walk you through exactly the analytics and how to of betting the Super Bowl. Because remember, the Super Bowl is a different game, unlike any other NFL game that we see during the season. And there's a specific guide and process that you want to follow and know of how to bet it like a professional. We will walk through and get down with every single style of bet and all the information that you need to know. Treat it like you're a coach on one of the staffs or a bettor at home. You will fully understand exactly how to bet like an expert after this guide. So let's begin by starting with the teams that we have. Kansas City Chiefs, led by Patrick Mahomes right there, as you see, Jalen Hurts, and the Philadelphia Eagles in Super Bowl 59. You see the spread. The Chiefs are the away team. The Eagles are the home team, although this will be played in New Orleans. That will be designated by uniform. The Chiefs, a 1.5-point favorite, meaning if you want to bet the spread on the Chiefs, they have to win by 2 points or more. You see the Eagles, the money line there, plus 105, meaning if you bet the Eagles to win the game straight up, your money, you will receive a plus 105 payout and a total of 48.5, meaning the total amount of points scored by both teams combined. If you bet the over, you would need 49 points or more. If you bet the under, 48 points or fewer. Now that we understand the spread, totals, and all of the bet options in regards to the team right here, just at the surface level, let's understand the teams that we have. So we take it to the whiteboard here. Points per game. You see the Chiefs, they averaged this season 22.6 points per game in the regular season. 15th best in the NFL out of 32 teams. The Philadelphia Eagles, 27.2 points they averaged per game this year, 7th best in the NFL. Points per game allowed. Both of these teams, they win with their defenses. Yes, they have star quarterbacks, star players all over the field on offense, but these are two excellent top 5 defenses. So when we say points per game allowed, that is how many points on average this season per game that each team gave up. The Chiefs, 4th best in the NFL, not only gave up 19.2 points per game on average, but the Eagles, 2nd best, 17.8. Average time of possession, meaning how long on average per game did each team's offense possess the football? 60 minutes in a football game. You see the Chiefs, 6th best, excuse me, in the NFL. They, on average, held the ball for 30 minutes and 56 seconds, over 50% of the game. Now, the Eagles, best in the NFL, 32 minutes and 23 seconds. Why does this matter? Because the longer one team holds the ball, the fewer opportunities and chances you have to hit prop bets on the other team's offense, and so much more. But that is really how you want to think about this and look at it. Basically, keep away. Now, understanding the passing offenses, the Chiefs, 14th best in the NFL. And when we say passing offenses, we mean yards per game that they threw for on average. Like we said, Chiefs 14th best in the NFL, Eagles 29th. But there's a caveat here, okay? Don't look at it as, oh, the Eagles, they can't throw the football. They didn't have to throw the football. That's how good of a football team they are. So you see a little bit of a misnomer there. As long as we all understand that, we'll be good to go. Passing defense, same deal. How many yards per game through the air did each defense allow on average? The Chiefs, 18th best in the NFL. The Eagles, the best in the NFL. Have we mentioned the Eagles have an excellent defense? Rushing offense. How many rushing yards per game on average did each team, average? The Chiefs, 22nd out of 32 in the NFL. The Eagles, 2nd in the NFL. You see a correlation there with the passing offense. They didn't have to throw the football all too much because not only Saquon Barkley at running back, but Jalen Hurts as well. it is a phenomenal rushing attack. And then the rushing defenses, eighth best in the NFL for the Chiefs, 10th best in the NFL for the Eagles. So now having an understanding of both of these teams, okay, let's now take a look at how these teams got here. So we have points per quarter averages, and these are in the playoffs only for this year. How to explain it a little bit easier? How many points on average through each team's playoff games did they score? The Chiefs, they averaged in their 2 playoff games this year 6.5 points that they scored in the first quarter of said games. The Eagles, 12.3. Yes, they have scored a touchdown in the first quarter in 7 straight games coming into the Super Bowl. A lethal offense to start games in the NFL. The Eagles are incredible with it. Second quarter, 10.5 for the Chiefs, 4.3 for the Eagles. All right, now look at the third quarters, okay? 0 for the Chiefs. Not a point yet that they have scored in the third quarter. The Eagles, 5.3 points on average. And then the fourth quarter, 10.5 points in the fourth quarter on average for Kansas City, 13.0 in the fourth for the Eagles. Why do we bring this up? Because, number one, there are things that you need to know. Scoring in the NFL is generally done in the second quarter and the fourth quarter of games. Those are the highest averaged quarters of points scored. It's held on for a long time. Now, doesn't mean it'll always play out that way, but just on average, that is how points and where points are scored in the NFL. But also, if you're taking a look at betting first quarter bets, first half bets, second half bets, fourth quarter bets, your book will have all kinds of options in regards to this. So just some data that you might want to know in regards to these teams. Okay, let's get into the quarterbacks here and understand the prop lines, go through them, and then we'll explain why these numbers matter and understand that this is recorded Saturday, February 1st. So this will run all week. Understand that these numbers can and absolutely will move as the week goes because more of the public will start to bet the closer that this game gets. So this will give us a nice baseline of whether these numbers have moved up or they have moved down. So the prop lines here, over unders, passing yards, Patrick Mahomes, over under 251.5 passing yards to Jalen Hurts, 210.5 passing yards. Go back to the board and think about in regards to the passing offenses. As we said, the Eagles really didn't have to throw the football all that much this year. Passing attempts, Patrick Mahomes, 36.5 over or under. Jalen Hurts, 27.5 over or under. Completions, 24.5 for Patrick Mahomes. Jalen Hurts, 18.5. The longest completed pass for each quarterback, meaning will Patrick Mahomes complete a pass 35 yards or further? All right, his numbers over under at 34.5. Same for Jalen Hurts at 32.5. And will either quarterback throw an interception in Super Bowl 59? All right, plus 105 for Patrick Mahomes to throw one, plus 130 for Jalen Hurts to throw an interception. But let's take these numbers and dive in to averages of what these quarterbacks have done per game this year. And now you will begin to understand where sports book over-under numbers that they set. Is it juiced? Is it high? Are they making you pay a little tax on it? Or are they market efficient? So Patrick Mahomes, 251.5 over-under on his passing yards, averages 241.7 per game. Attempts, 36.5, on average 35.1. Completions, 24.5 over or under. Patrick averages 23.7 per game. Now, his longest completion, as we mentioned, 34.5 yards. Patrick's longest completion this season, 54 yards. And to throw an interception, Mahomes averages 0.60 of an interception per game this season. Now, moving over to Jalen Hurts. All right, 210.5 passing yards for him. Average, 189.3 this year. Attempts 27.5. Jalen Hurts averages 23.9 per attempts per game this season. Completions 18.5 compared to 16.4 for Jalen. Longest completion, 32.5 yards in Super Bowl 59. Longest completion this year, 67 yards, and he's done it before, obviously. Interception, plus 130 to throw a pick in the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts doesn't throw many interceptions and hasn't this year. He averages only 0.30 of an interception per game this season. So that is how we take a look at the quarterbacks. But how do we take a look at the running backs here? Okay. Kareem Hunt for the Chiefs, Saquon Barkley for the Eagles. Over under rushing yards in the game, 45.5 for Kareem, 114.5 for Saquon Barkley. Did we mention that the Eagles have success running the football? Rushing attempts for Kareem Hunt, 11.5, comparatively to Saquon Barkley's 22.5. Longest rush, 11.5 for Kareem, 25.5 for Saquon Barkley, meaning does Kareem Hunt break off a run for 12 yards or further in this game? Same thing for Saquon, 26 yards or further for him. Anytime touchdown, plus 135 to score one for Kareem Hunt, minus 190 for Saquon Barkley. Now take a look. Will they score 2+ touchdowns in the game? And this could come on the ground or in the air. Throwing a touchdown pass does not count for this category, but you have two running backs that can catch the football out of the backfield. Plus 900 for Kareem to score 2, plus 295 for Saquon to score 2. Same deal. Let's click over the averages here. Kareem Hunt averaging 55.7 rushing yards per game. Attempts 15 per game compared to his 11.5. All right. Longest rush for Kareem this season at 20 yards. All right. Kareem Hunt has 9 touchdowns on the season, both on the ground and in the air combined. And how many times has Kareem Hunt scored 2+ touchdowns in the game this year? One time. He's done it one time. Now, moving over to Saquon Barkley. Rushing yards, 114.5. He averages 128.8 yards per game. They run the football, and no one is better in the NFL this year than Saquon Barkley at doing it. Attempts, over under set at 22.5. His average, 21.6. Longest rush, 25.5, as we mentioned. His longest rush this year, 78 yards. Anytime touchdown. All right, on the ground and in the air combined, Saquon Barkley scored 20 touchdowns this season. And how many games did Saquon score 2 touchdowns? 8 times. He did it 8 times this year, an incredible number, because he can not only do it on the ground, but he can do it in the air. Okay, moving over to wide receivers. All right, these are the highest prop leaders for each team. Take a look at Travis Kelce, tight end for the Chiefs, over under 62.5 receiving yards. A.J. Brown, stud wide receiver for Philadelphia, at 70.5 receiving yards. Receptions, 6.5 for Kelce, 5.5 for A.J. Brown. Longest reception, 20.5 for Travis, 25.5 for A.J. there. Anytime touchdown, plus 135, plus 170. All right, comparatively, 135 is for Travis, 170 is for A.J. Brown. And 2+ touchdowns for Travis Kelce is plus 1,000. 2 touchdowns for A.J. Brown, plus 1,400. Now let's go and take a look at the averages here. Average for Travis Kelce per game receiving yards, 53.3. 5.9 receptions per game compared to the 6.5 over or under. 49 yards was Travis Kelce's longest reception this season. Travis had 5 touchdowns on the year, all in the air, receiving. How many games did he have 2 or more touchdowns? 0. Didn't do it one time this year. Moving over to A.J. Brown, receiving yards over under 70.5 by the books. He averages 74.9 per game this year. Receptions 5.5. A.J. Brown averages 4.8 this year. Longest reception is at 25.5 yards. A.J. Brown's longest reception this year, 67 yards. Anytime touchdown, plus 170 for A.J. Brown. He has 8 touchdowns on the season. And you see 2+ touchdowns for A.J. Brown of the Eagles, plus 1,400. He has also done it in 0 games this year. So Hope that those numbers absolutely help you out in regards to understanding, all right, quarterbacks, running backs, and wide receivers, and what the books are showing you. What does it tell us so far? Number one, these numbers are high, especially passing. Okay. The books expect both quarterbacks to have to throw, but understand they've also set these numbers a little higher than the averages. So going into it, you look at it and say, okay, am I going to go for a quality bet or a quantity bet? And what do I mean by that? Okay. Let's take a look back here and just go to our wide receivers. So a quantity bet would be receptions. Travis Kelce, over 6.5 receptions. Quantity, if you think that he is going to catch pass after pass after pass, okay, receptions is a good look. Now, if you are a quality type better, longest reception, over 20.5 yards. I'm not saying that that's coming in. What I'm saying is that understand that you could get the longest reception in one play. One play. All right. Reception is going to take you at least 7 passes his way, and that would be not dropping any of them, 100% on his catches. Okay. Theoretically, you would like 8, 9, 10 targets his way. Okay. So think about that when you're looking at these bets, not only for receivers and tight ends, but quarterbacks, running backs, really anybody on offense, right? Or if you go defense, you're looking at tackles, right? Do you want to bet on something happening one time or a quantity of times based on the over unders of said bets? That's just one way to look at it, but we continue. Now, after we have seen the star players, and one thing to understand is this: I spoke about the Super Bowl being a different style of game than any other game in the NFL. And here's why. Number one, it's a championship game that a third of the planet is watching. Okay. Number two, you've got a lot of commercial breaks, longer commercial breaks. Think about Super Bowl commercials. They pay a ton of money and they will get them in. So you have breaks in the game that are a little bit longer than what they normally are. Halftime in the Super Bowl, okay, about 45 minutes. We all watch the halftime show. Kendrick Lamar is the artist this year. All right. Normal halftime of just a regular NFL game, 12 minutes. Massive difference. Now we go back and look at the points. As we talked about, third quarter points, they're in there a little bit longer. You might want to take a look there. Maybe there could be a little bit of rust coming out of halftime. Okay, so we go back and think about how the spread total was set. Okay, and let me pull it up here. So you see 1.5 favorites for the Chiefs. Okay, and a total of 48.5. So you see that right there. But how exactly do we approach that with these numbers? Okay. So let's go back to our board here. Take a quick look. Remember, points per game, 27.2 for the Eagles, 22.6 for the Chiefs. Points per game allowed defensively. All right. 17.8 for the Eagles of what they've allowed their opponents this year per game, 19.2 for the Chiefs. These are 2 top 5 defenses. All right. Well, top 4, actually. All right. They have both of these teams have used their defenses to win a lot of games, and they're going to try to do the same here. They're going to need offense as well, but they're going to look for their defenses to be the stalwarts. Now, I say all that to say this. Okay. You look at a total of 48.5. So that would be, if you were going to cover the over, you would need 49 points. So that would be what? Say the Eagles win 25-24. We're just using that as a baseline here. Okay. So team total overs, another way that you can bet the Super Bowl here. You don't care who wins. You don't care who loses. You're just betting over or under these points. And I'll pull myself on screen so that you can see. All right. 23.5 over or under. All right. So we've got the over prices here that the books It's minus 140 to play the Chiefs over 23.5 points. Now, remember how football games are scored, all right? 3 points field goal, 6 points touchdown with an extra point. That's 7. So think of your key numbers here: 3, 7, 10, 14, 17, 20, 21, 24, 28, right? How games are scored. So when you look at 23.5, what you want to know is, okay, if you're betting the under, all right, you're getting it under what? 3 touchdowns with 3 extra points and a field goal. Okay. So that's 24. If you're playing the under, all right, you might want to look at going over that key number there, 24.5, because then, okay, instead of 23.5, where, 7, 7, 7, 3 touchdowns, 3 extra points, and a field goal, that loses it for you on the under. Okay. But if that's exactly what Kansas City does, 24, well, you've got the under 24.5. You have an extra point built in. So you want to think about this in regards to betting team totals, overs or unders. Okay. If you are betting in over, 23.5 is a great number. That's why it's minus 140 comparatively to minus 110 for the Kansas City Chiefs, because if the Chiefs get 3 touchdowns and a field goal, 24 points, you hit that on the minus 140. 24.5, you do not. All right. You would need, instead of 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns, or you would need 3 touchdowns and 2 field goals, or 3 touchdowns, a field goal, and the Chiefs to go for 2 on one of those, right? So you start to see what these numbers mean, what these hooks mean, and using your key numbers to understand them. So these are the juice prices for the overs: 23.5 minus 140, 24.5 minus 110 for Kansas City, 25.5 minus 105, 26.5 plus 110. Okay. Now understand 24. We just talked about that number. 26.5. That would be either 4 touchdowns, and you could afford yourself 1 missed extra point that would come in at 27, or 3 touchdowns at 21, 2 field goals would take you to 24 and to 27. Understand that when you are betting over or unders. Now you look at Philadelphia's side, look, a little bit better, meaning that the books think Kansas City is liable to score a couple more points than Philadelphia is here. All right. So the over for the Eagles at 23.5 is minus 120. That's an attractive number right there for 23.5. 24.5 plus 115. Now you're starting to get money back on top of your bet. Over 25.5 for the Eagles, plus 125. Over 26.5 for the Eagles, plus 140. Let me tell you, if you think the Eagles are going to score 4 touchdowns in this game, 26.5 solid number. Also understand the NFL is a 3-point league. All right, let me pull myself on screen to understand this. A 3-point lead of all NFL games ever. 3-point margin of victory, meaning let's say the Eagles win 30-27. They win by 3 points. That is the highest statistical probability of what has happened in NFL history. This is a 3-point league. Let me give you another stat. The last 3 Super Bowls in a row have been won by 3 points exactly. Every single point matters. Why do I say that? All right. Kansas City Chiefs, all right, kicking, they're pretty solid. All right. They could punt, they could kick extra points, they could kick field goals. Philadelphia Eagles, they've had some issues in regards to kicking extra points, but they can kick field goals and they can punt. Here's the thing. Understand this with Philadelphia. They don't punt a lot. Why? The tush push. You've heard about this. What they will do is on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1, they will line up, all right, Jalen Hurts very deep under center, and essentially push him across to get a first down. They will do this a lot. They've done it all year. They've done it for a couple years now. All right. It's very effective. Absolutely effective. So understand that in regards to punts in the game, in regards to field goals in the game, in regards to anything where you could see, all right, a 3rd and 1, a 4th and 1. Philadelphia, they go for it. Okay. So now that we have that understood, let's also take a look at the referees. We need to know this. This is important. Head referee is Ron Torbert. Now, how officiating in the Super Bowl works is that you will have your head referee and then basically an all-star cast, so to say, of members of crews that will work, back judge, line judge, that make up the crew. But the head referee is Ron Torbert. So what do we need to know about Ron Torbert and how he has called games this year? Because this is how they get down. Every referee is different, okay? 46.6 points per game on average this year. That's a high number. I understand that it is under the 48 and a half, but understand that this is a per game average all season of 17 games that he has officiated in the regular season that you see right there. 10 out of 17 went to the over, 58.8%. Now, it also calls 16.7 penalties per game on average. That's the third most in the NFL of head referees. So, what are the most called penalties? Offensive holding, defensive holding. Two devastating penalties on both sides. Offensive holding, that takes you back 10 yards, leads you in tough spots, okay? Can kill drives. Defensive holding. Now, the difference between defensive holding can come from defensive linemen, linebackers, corners, safeties, anybody. However, what you normally see and where you see defensive holding come into play is think about if you have a wide receiver and you have a cornerback, okay? The wide receiver gets past the cornerback knows, not cornerback knows, or safety, I'm toast. I am burnt. If the quarterback sees it, throws it, this is a touchdown. So you grab on and hold. But it's generally before the ball is in the air, because once it's in the air and you have contested, that's pass interference. And that pass interference can bring you 45 yards. But defensive holding, all right, still giving up a first down, but it's not as devastating. So what you need to know with both of those is that you could get, all right, chunk plays taken away from you. If you're Patrick Mahomes and you throw it over, an Eagles secondary player's head and the Eagles player holds on to the Chiefs receiver, all right, and you get defensive holding. Well, even if he catches the ball, if you accept the penalty, okay, that's not a play. You're not going to get yardage from that. However, if they caught it, you generally would go further than what the call would be. So not as devastating, but offensive holding, that can really take away plays. And the Chiefs are arguably, their offensive line, the worst in the NFL in regards to offensive holding calls this year. That is a key stat that you want to know. Now, we spoke about all of that to get right here, and I'll pull this full screen. I went through the last 9 Super Bowls and averaged all of these key statistical categories. This is the formula for not only winning or losing a Super Bowl, playing the game, coaching the game, but also understand these numbers in regards to winning bets on the Super Bowl. So on average of the last 9 Super Bowls, there have been a total 49.4 on average per game. Punts, 8.5. Now, the number over under of punts that books have as of right now is 6.5, because these two teams not afraid to go for it on fourth down. These two good offenses that generally don't find themselves going 3 and out. But the Eagles, as we spoke about, they go for it on 3rd and 4th and shorts a lot. So that is honestly the 6.5 over under that the books have on punts. You're not going to find many areas where the books are going well under putting that over under comparatively to the averages. I'm not saying that bet's going to hit, but if you're looking for value in a bet that most people won't talk about or look at, just keep an eye there, especially if it drops to 5.5. All right. On average, the last 9 Super Bowls, 3.18 field goals between both teams. All right. Combined. Interceptions, 1.85 interceptions thrown in the Super Bowl. So almost 2. Okay. Now you decide who's going to throw an interception. Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes. we go back and we look and think, okay, at the numbers here of both quarterbacks. Well, Patrick Mahomes, on average per game this year, 0.60 interceptions per game. Jalen Hurts, 0.30. But also look at the attempts. More attempts that you have, generally, more opportunities that you're going to have to throw an interception, especially when we go back to the board and look. All right. The pass defense for the Eagles, number one, the best. All right. It is very difficult to throw on them. It's very difficult to run on them too, but understand that they don't give up a whole lot at all. So that is why we take a look at the interceptions, but honestly, all of these numbers. Now, okay, understand this one. The first half percentage of total points in the past 9 Super Bowls. Okay. And the reason that I chose the past 9 Super Bowls is that it's kind of this newer generation of passing attack offenses, just the thought process, because what happened in Super Bowl 4 doesn't necessarily mean it's what's going to happen in Super Bowl 59. So you're probably thinking, why 9 Super Bowls? That's why. Okay. So when I say first half percent of total points scored in the game, it's 47.4, meaning if there were 10 points scored total in this Super Bowl, okay, 4.7 of them would be in the first half. 5.2, right, some change would be the second half, meaning more points are scored in the second half of Super Bowls than in the first half. And you see it right there. The average first half touchdowns is 2.83, and that's combined of both teams. We go back and we take a look at our numbers of both of these teams, okay? We have points per quarter averages. Think about this, okay? So when you look at first half bets, second half bets, whether you're going quarter bets, first, second, third, or fourth, and there's all ways you could go. Team totals, you can go spreads, you can go totals for both teams combined, okay? Remember, all right, 52%, 52.6% of the points that are scored in one Super Bowl are scored in the second half on average. So just some numbers that you want to know, whether you're betting props, team props, etc. Now, winner pass attempts, okay, on average, 39.1 attempts, all right? Loser pass attempts, 35.8. Winner completions, 26.3 completions off of 39.1 pass attempts. See what we did there? Green and green, red and red. Loser completions, 21 of basically 35.8, 21 of 36. All right. That's what a loser, that sounds terrible. That's what a quarterback that lost the Super Bowl, generally what his stat line looks like. 21 of 36 for, you see the yards down there, 265. So what does a winning quarterback on average look like? 26 of 39, all right, for 271 yards. That's what it looks like. You look at the pass completion percentages. Winner, 67.5. Loser, 58.4%. So what do these numbers mean? You go back and you take a look at the quarterbacks, all right? Their prop numbers, all right? Who's going to throw for yardage here? Who is going to surprise you, okay? If you're looking at the quarterbacks and you go back and you take a look and you say, okay, where can I find value? Well, look at Jalen Hurts, okay? 210 and a half. That is a very low number comparatively for winner or loser. Patrick Mahomes, 251 and a half for a quarterback that on average wins a Super Bowl, which him and the Chiefs have won 2 straight. That is an attainable number if you follow what the metrics have been. So understanding that, I hope that that makes sense. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me on Twitter at Alan G. Bell or at Driving the Line on YouTube. Put it right in the comments, right in the live chat. We're live daily, 10 a.m. Eastern at Driving the Line. Come join. You'll have a ton of fun. We go through all of these and for every sport and so much more because it's all about understanding the why of how we're betting these games. So you see, all right, pass attempts. Now, rushing. Winner rush attempts, 26.9. Now, that's not just running backs. It's not just one running back. It's all rush attempts. Could be quarterbacks if they go. And both of these quarterbacks are going to need to run in this Super Bowl. Okay. So 26.9 for the winner, for the loser, 22.8. Understand this: winner total plays 66.5. All right. In the entire Super Bowl for the winner on average, 66 and a half plays per game, per Super Bowl. Loser, 58.7. Now, why did we put that there? Okay. Why does that matter? Well, go back to the board. Look at time of possession. That's where it comes into play. And that's why it's so important. All right. Both of these teams, top 6 in terms of average time of possession. But look at the delta, the difference for the Eagles, 32.23 seconds. All right. That is a lot of time of holding the football in NFL games. So I hope that that makes sense and you understand the longer these teams hold the ball, okay, the more chances that you have. Winner pass to run ratios, meaning if you have 10 plays, okay, offensively in the Super Bowl, how many of those are pass compared to run? So if you had 10, the winner on average would throw 5.8 times out of those 10 total plays and run it 4.2, meaning winning quarterbacks, they're both winner and loser. They're going to throw more than they run on average, okay? Loser pass to run, 61.5%. Why does that matter? Well, the reason that that matters is it's all about balance, okay? Passing, running, can you stay balanced? What happens in football games when teams tend to let games get out of hand is when they stop running the football because they're down, okay? They're down and they either just can't run it on that defense or they just don't have time and they've got to start throwing, okay? So if you're a live bettor, that's where this comes into play. Once you start seeing a team, all right, and basically their volatility levels start to get out of whack and it's not looking balanced, that's when bad things start to happen. So if you're a live bettor, specifically the second half, all right, of Super Bowl 59, yeah, pay attention. All right. That is where things start to go. Okay. This isn't specifically for the Super Bowl, but I want you to understand this, well, these metrics, because it goes back to what we said. All right. The NFL is a 3-point league. Now, you hear bookmakers, odds makers, sharps, everyone talk about key numbers in the NFL. And I'm going to show you exactly what that is. If you've heard it and don't know, or you've never heard it and don't know, these are key metrics. And I'll explain what they are and why they are key. So let me pull it up here. So these are the average margins of victory of every NFL game since 2015. Every one of them. Okay. So understand, you see 3 right there in red, 14.4%. What does that mean? That means that 14.4% of all games in the NFL since 2015, almost 10 years, okay, have ended exactly 3 points. Eagles 30, Chiefs 27. You get the point? All right. C1, 4.3%. That would be Eagles 30, Chiefs 29, et cetera, right? Now, look at the 5 that are in red, okay? 3, 14.4%. Your highest percentage by far. Next highest percentage, 7. Why? Well, that's a touchdown, all right? 6 points and an extra point, 9.9%. Your next highest, 6, 7.3%. Either be 2 field goals or a touchdown and maybe something happened with the extra point. Your next highest, 14, double 7, all right, 5.7%. And then 10 points, a 10-point margin of victory. Eagles 30, Chiefs 20, right, just for example, at 4.6%. Now, I'll bring myself on. And why do these matter? Why are these key numbers? So understand the difference if you're betting spreads in the NFL. Okay, let's say you bet a team at -2.5, meaning your team has to win by 3 points or more. Okay. Now compare that to if you wait and that -2.5 favorite that you're betting goes to -3.5. All right. Meaning that -3.5, you now need 4 points. All right. To win. You just added 14.4% added risk to your bet just by waiting from 2.5 to 3.5. You see what I'm saying? All right. Think about it this way. If you went to a fast food place, okay, you got option A, option B. All right. Option A, you have an added 14.4% chance every visit of getting food poisoning compared to the B. You going to go to A? No, right? That's a massive number, right? So that's why I bring it up. It doesn't necessarily matter in this game, but betting football, okay, it absolutely matters in all of them. This is exactly what the books use and why they use these numbers, okay, and why you see numbers move. When sharps, you see people that bet hundreds of thousands of dollars, okay, when they're going to get a -2.5 before it goes to -3, all right, -3.5, because they're playing a number. Now, it also works the opposite way, all right? If you're betting an underdog at +2.5, okay, and you can wait and get it at +3.5. Well, you just added 14.4% higher of a chance. All right. You could go through all these numbers, threes and six and sevens and eights, all of these. But again, I just wanted you to get a baseline knowledge and understanding of exactly what key numbers are and why they are key numbers and what they mean. So if you have any further questions, let me know. Twitter at Driving the Line, however you want to reach out. I'll absolutely help you out with these. But if you've never heard this before, never seen it before, this is your bread and butter. Always remember the why of these key numbers and how games are won and lost betting in the NFL. Now, outside of that, you have fun prop bets in the Super Bowl. And I'll pull this up full screen. So understand, if you're betting on a coin toss, all right, that's a 50-50 bet. Okay. Make sure that you get plus 100 odds or more. Do not pay a negative juice price on those. I'm serious. Okay. If you're going to bet one, bet at plus 100. People bet the over under on the national anthem. Again, I have no advice on that. I know that this year the over of, I believe, what is it, 120 and a half seconds is juiced high. All right. But again, I'm not an artist. Couldn't tell you. Don't know. But there is something with Gatorade colors. All right. Now, I'm not saying bet this, but if you are someone who wants to have one of these fun prop bets on the game, let me just show you just a little information in regards to these. So here are the odds this year. All right. For the Gatorade shower on the winning head coach team, whatever. All right. Purple, the favorite, plus 225. Yellow, green, plus 250. Orange, plus 400. Red, pink, plus 650. Blue, plus 650. Clear water, plus 900. And no Gatorade bath whatsoever, plus 2,500. But here is the information. Here are the winning Gatorade colors since 2001. Orange, 5 times the leader since 2001. Clear water, 4 times. No Gatorade bath. You just saw the odds on that. Plus 2,500. All right. It's happened 4 times. Blue, it's happened 4 times. Here's a nugget. Purple. All right. 4 times since 2001. But want to know something? The Chiefs have won 2 straight Super Bowls, and the Chiefs have gone purple 2 straight Super Bowls. That's right. The last 2 have been purple. I'm not saying bet it, but the last 2 have gone it that way. So just information that you want to know. Yellow, 3 times since 2001, and red and pink, 0. Fruit punch Gatorade is good. I don't know why they're going 0 on that one, but those are the numbers. So while be careful, don't throw a lot of money on these wild kind of fun prop bets. I did want to at least provide one that had some data and information that you can use behind them. And hopefully that part helps. Now, some bets that I'm looking at, and then we'll get out of here because I've taken up enough of your time. Here are some that I have so far. And again, this is Saturday, February 1st. All right. Eagles money line and Saquon Barkley combined in a two-leg parlay here at plus 180. Saquon Barkley, we spoke about it. 2+ touchdowns at plus 310. Saquon Barkley, longest rush. All right. I got it early at over 24.5 yards. As of right now, it's at 25.5 yards. Still like it there. Patrick Mahomes, over 6.5 rush attempts at minus 105. Generally, we play these at around 4.5, but he will have to run the football. And remember, kneel downs count as rush attempts, whether it's at the end of the first half or the end of the game kneeling to win. Rush attempts are kneel downs as well. All right. Chiefs, Eagles, 2-point conversion attempt at plus 110. I got this at BetMGM. I'm sure other books have it. This counts either team to go for 2 at least once in Super Bowl 59. Doesn't have to be successful. All right. Who cares? But we just need one of these teams to go for 2. And as wild and experienced as these two teams are, especially Philadelphia, with going for a lot of fourth downs and a little wobbly at extra points, I do believe that we will get a shot at this one. So if you're looking for a bet that most people probably don't look at, pay attention to, this is a good one right here. All right. So that is it. I hope that this information absolutely helped you. If you have any questions, like I said, follow us at Driving the Line on YouTube, or you could find me on Twitter at Alan G. Bell. I'll answer any questions that you have. Fire them off. I assure you, there is no question. All right. Too big, too small, too smart, too dumb. Good questions are good questions. And the only bad question is the one that we don't ask. So we'll see you live daily, Driving the Line at 10 a.m. Eastern. But until then, best of luck. Let's cash these Super Bowl tickets, and we'll see you hopefully with a nice Gatorade bath. Thank you.